Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and I told you the next video would be either the Galaxy or the wagon. It's not going to be. It's actually going to be something different. I hope you'll watch this and I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope it gets a lot of views because I need them. And let's just say that I decided Mother's Day is about 2 weeks away. Maybe 3. I don't remember exactly, 2 or 3 weeks away. And I thought it would be a good idea to drag a vehicle out of a field and do a revival on it and give it to her as a Mother's Day present. And as long as y'all don't tell her, she won't see it because, well, she doesn't watch my channel either.
I'd say it's a nut job.
That's actually a joke. She does watch the channel, but she's so busy this time of year with work that for the next couple of weeks, she's kind of tied up. So as long as I can get it done quickly, she won't notice. So right there is the huckleberry. Let me tell you about this thing real quick before we go any further. Technically, she already kind of has this. And what I mean by this is we actually purchased this Jeep brand new in 2002. Had a lot of great off-road adventures in this Jeep. And it was her daily driver. Well, at some point, the radiator developed a leak. I never really knew about it. Long story short, it ran hot, blew a head gasket, and we was going to get it fixed real quick. I had the head, pulled it apart, had the head machined, and started to put it back together. Life got in the way, and it's been sitting there now for 5 years right here. She's never complained. She's never said anything about it. And we've just been kind of sharing a vehicle and moving stuff around, or she's been driving whatever happens to be sitting here, whatever junk I have running at the moment in the driveway, and she's never complained about it. So I think for Mother's Day, we're going to try to get our old Jeep back up and going. Now, since this was a running and driving Jeep and had a blowed head gasket on it, and I did have the head milled and machined and a valve job done and everything, technically it was a good Jeep. But after sitting here for 5 years with this great gas that we have nowadays in the tank and the lines and the fuel injectors, I got a feeling this is one of those cases where past me really screwed future me. And current me is not excited about this. So before we get started, let's take a walk around it and look at it. And look at what we're working with here. This thing has been sitting here and it's turned into a storage unit. I actually haven't opened the door on this thing in years. It's just been sitting here. And she's got some flats on her, and of course needs tires. Hopefully the paint will clean up. That's going to be one of the things that we're going to do in this particular video. We're going to get it pulled out of the field back here, out of our field of dreams back here. We're going to get it pulled out, try to get it cleaned up, and hope all these bees with yellow coats on that I see flying around here haven't actually built a nest in here. And apparently there's, who knows what piled in the back of it. Spare tire's been robbed off of it. I did buy a hardtop for it. The last year she drove it was the first time she had a hardtop on it. We always ran a soft top or no top most of the time on it. Well, before I transfer this thing to my shop, I want to make sure there's nothing living under this hood that desires to kill me, such as things that can bite, sting, poison, slithers. Okay. Okay. Pretty clean. Hey, I put a new radiator in it. Past me wasn't completed yet. Although for some reason I zip tied the hood prop to the top of the hood. Okay then. Okay then. I don't. You ever do those things that a few years later you look back at and go, "What was I thinking?" This is that thought encapsulated in one vehicle. One, I understand things got busy, but why did I get all the parts to do it? And literally, all the parts are here to do it with. I don't even have to get nothing. Well, I may now because all the old fuel and meth replaced injectors and all, but at the time, all the parts were here. And all I had to do was put it together. 5 years later, it's still sitting here. So that's one. Two, why did I zip tie the hood prop rod to the top of the hood? I'm sure at the time I had a reason for it. But let's talk about the game plan and what I have planned for this Jeep in the next couple of weeks to hopefully give her back her running Jeep. So my plan is, first off, it's got to get a bath before it ever goes into my shop. It's getting pressure washed and getting a bath. Yeah. But got to get the engine running again. Probably going to have to address the fuel system. Who knows? I might be able to blow the lines out and I might be able to clean the tank. But the injectors are probably as long gone as a Hillary Clinton email. But I don't think we have to do a lot. And once I pressure wash it, clean it up, get the engine running, drive it around, make sure it's good. We're going to put some tires on it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put a carpet kit back in it. I mean, let's face it, we don't off-road like we used to. Every weekend we were somewhere off-roading. And sometimes took vacations and went whole weeks to go off-roading somewhere. So pulling the carpet out and pulling the plugs out of the bottom so you can just wash the interior out was great then. But now, well, we don't do that really anymore. So I think I'm going to put some sound deadener back in it, a carpet kit back in it. I'm going to put the back seat back in it. I still have the back seat. It's mint because not long after it was bought, the back seat was taken out and put in a storage building. So assuming no critters have actually eaten in the storage building, the back seat's really never been set in much. So I'm going to put the back seat back in it and yeah, get her back on the road. It was a really cool old Jeep, and I kind of hate that I let it sit here this long. So I'm hoping you guys will watch these videos and show this thing some love. Let the videos play in the background for all I care. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe if you hadn't. I'm going to take the other Jeep off the back of the ramp truck because we're waiting on parts for it. And I'm going to try to get this one wrangled up on the ramp truck so that I can give it a proper bath and see if we can get some of the gunk and goop off of it. Well, it's on the back of the ramp truck and ready to get cleaned up. And I drug it, I know should be the other way around, but I drug it backwards because that's the only way I could get into it is from behind. And I'm only moving it up to the other side of the shop to pressure wash it before it goes inside, if that doesn't stop me this evening. Unfortunately, the whole plan of being a surprise for my wife, it got flushed in about 3 minutes. She ain't been back here in this field in years, but when I back up, waited till while she was asleep, mind you, left and came here to load this up and get it washed and get it inside the garage before anybody noticed. Yeah, I'm winching it up and I look over my shoulder and she's standing there staring at me. What are you doing? honestly kind of hurt my feelings enough to where I don't even know if I want to do it now or not. But you know I will. But I need you guys to watch so that at least these videos create enough revenue to pay for lost time. You know what I mean? So hopefully you guys be into this and watch it. I'm gonna try to get it cleaned up before it goes into the shop so that it's just not so bad to handle. To compound things even more, my pressure washer just up and died on me. No reason, no warning. It just stopped running. So I've sprayed some stuff on it. Let it sit a minute. I'm just gonna take the hose and spray it off, and what comes off comes off. At least that'll be the loose nastiness off of it, and we can put it in the garage and work on it from there. Hopefully, we'll see. Let's see how it goes. Well, is it clean? No, but is it better than it was? By a lot. So mainly just wanted to knock all the loose stuff off so I wouldn't have to worry about wallering around in all the gunk and junk inside the shop. So at least I managed to get that done somewhat. There it is. I'm gonna let it drip dry a little bit and then wrangle it inside the shop. So hopefully tomorrow afternoon I can start disassembling some stuff to make it easier to get to. One thing about these, this is a 4.0 inline 6 and a 5-speed. One thing about them, there's not a lot of room over here, so I'm gonna make my life easier, I think, or I'm about to complicate this job way too much, and I'm going to pull this fender off, lay the hood back on the windshield, pull this fender off so that I can actually get down in there right here at the tire and just reach right over there and work and make my job a lot easier, I think. But I'm gonna have to, I know I'm gonna have to get new injectors for it. I know I'm gonna have to, I don't know if I got to get a new tank or not. Is this a metal tank or a plastic tank? It's a metal tank. No, wait, that's a guard over it. I think this is a plastic tank. I don't know. It's got a cover over it. I can't tell. If it's a plastic tank, we can probably clean it out pretty good. If it's a metal tank, it's 50-50 shot. So I'm going to jump online right now and try to get some new injectors on the way. I'm going to go ahead and get new gaskets just because, and get them on the way, and hopefully they'll be here Monday so that we can knock this thing out in a couple of days. That's the goal anyway. Hey, real quick guys, hopefully by the time I'm ready to edit this video, I can put a photo in right here. If not, then I'm just pointing at the Jeep. We should have new merch out real soon. We're working on a shirt design. Hopefully that design will be finished tonight or tomorrow. Hopefully, not sure yet. But if we can get that design finished up real soon, we'll go ahead and put it out there to the world and let you know we are going to have some merch coming out real soon. So let's get this Jeep in here. All right, it's in here, so now we're just gonna get the hood open and take a look at where we left off, and yeah. I dread this because I know past me really screwed presently. Yeah. All right, so this nasty thing is it. The intake manifold's got to come back off. It's not on there straight. It's up on, there's some little locating dowel pins, and it's cocked up on a locating dowel pin, so it's got to come back off. I was thinking about pulling the fender off to make better access, but heck, I got it in there before. I think I can get it in there now. If I had to, I guess I could pull this stuff off and get in here, but may not be a reason to. Yeah. So I did put a brand new radiator in it. It has a new head on it, and I think I put a new water pump on it as well when I was in here before. And then I just quit. So now we gotta make up all that. I had put a battery in there too, but yeah, I don't think that's gonna charge. I'd also changed the oil, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that again anyway. We're just gonna go ahead and do everything, just like we just started on it for the first time. And clean this engine bay up. Try to make this thing look good again. Back then we were off-roading a lot, so I didn't care if it was muddy and nasty, but since I'm going through all the effort, I'm gonna try to make this thing pretty decent and pretty nice again. So yeah, hey, past me did do one thing right. Put the little belt deal there because, well, wherever the sticker was it was supposed to be on is no longer there. It's not on that sticker. It would have been on one up here. Oh, all right. So nothing to it but to get in there and do it. I'm gonna go ahead and order some new injectors and get them on the way while I get this thing took back apart for some new gaskets and clean everything up. And yeah, we're gonna try to get this together for my wife for Mother's Day. She deserves it. She's a good woman. She's put up with a lot from me with all these projects and all these cars and swapping stuff around, and she's never complained about it. She works about 12 hours a day, even though she's not supposed to. She works with kids with disabilities, and she's not supposed to. Her contract is for, a 6 or 7 hour day, but she ends up working 12-hour days. And she's just always thinking about others instead of herself. So it's time she got a little something just for her. So we're gonna get this thing stripped apart, and I may go ahead and pull all this off anyway, just so I can clean all this. All these fenders in here are kind of mildewed up and cruded up, so I may just go ahead and pull all this stuff off. That way we can take the fender off, clean all this stuff real good, get good access to everything, and make this thing a really good running, dependable Jeep again. We've driven this thing all over the eastern half of the United States, and it's been a good one. So we need to get it back going again. Let's get on it, guys. It's been a few days, and well, you can see there's no fender over here now. Listen, I've been kind of down with a stomach bug for a few days, and it's pretty much had me laid up. Or at least tied to the house, if you know what I'm saying. So, let's get back into where we were. A little bit has changed since you left. During a few moments here and there as I was feeling like it, I would come out here and turn a couple bolts and go right back to the house. Turn a couple bolts, go right back to the house. And I removed this fender and a bunch of electrical stuff here. And the question is going to be, why do you take the fender off, take the intake off? Do you have to? The answer is no. But considering I've been down for a few days and I'm not exactly at full strength, I kind of want to sit in a chair and work on it. Well, for me to be able to get to the intake, sit in a chair, about the only choice is to take the fender off, which on a Jeep really isn't that big deal. It's like 8 bolts, 10 bolts, something like that. And you can pop the fender off of one. Really not a big deal at all. You just got a few on the TJs, you got a few electrical connections you have to move out of the way. So now it's just going to be get in here and remove the intake. So to remove the intake on these, they're not actually bolts through the intake or the exhaust. This side right here, this is the exhaust. This side right here is the intake, and it's got a conical shaped washer on it there, and it just kind of captures both of them at the same time. There's some on top, and then there's some under the bottom right through there. Those got to come out. Fuel rail, injectors, that has to come off and out of the way. And this power steering pump bracket has to come off and out of the way. And then you can take those bolts off and then come off. You don't have to take the throttle body off or any of that stuff. You do have to, of course, undo your electrical connections, but you know, that goes without saying, I guess. A trick here, if you look, there is some round holes in the front of this power steering pump pulley. They will line up with these holes back here, so you can take the bolt and pull it through and get the bolts out of it. This video this was gonna be a kind of a 1 day, maybe 2 day in and out thing. And now this thing's been sitting here a week pretty much. I worked on it the first day, and then I haven't felt well, so it's just been sitting here, and I've tinked with it a little here and there. Moving these electrical connections, don't yank on them, don't pry on them. If the button doesn't want to release with your finger, get a tiny little screwdriver and put just a little extra pressure on it and try to remove it that way. Don't be in here just prying, hammering down on them. There's just a tiny little clip right there. All you gotta do is push on it. Most of these will come right off. Again, if they don't, it just takes a little touch is all it takes, and they pop right off of there. Of course, you can actually see what you're doing. Sometimes my big head gets in my way. I was pushing the wrong spot. Completely my fault. Don't worry too much about where these go, because most of the time they can only plug right back up to the circuit they came out of, so you really don't have to worry that much about that. Basically, anything that looks like it might be holding this thing in place needs to come off. And the part that holds your injector plugs, it's plastic, and it just snaps down over the head studs. I'll leave that plug there and slither this around behind the intake. Pull this out. That will drop the fuel rail out of the way.
Yep, there we go.
All right. Intake is off. Header's still on. Yeah, this one actually has, and a lot of the TJs did, has a split header, so it's actually got two pipes. You can run dual exhaust on if you want to. Manifold's laying there. Now I need to check it and make sure there's no cracks or anything in it. All right, after a quick inspection, it appears that there's no cracks or no damage. It's just nasty. May go ahead and pop these injectors out, take the throttle body off, and just really clean this thing. And I may throw some paint on it, make it visual a little better. I know it's aluminum, but that aluminum will never clean back up, short of having it like bead blaster or something. I'm just not gonna go through all that for this project. So, as long as the local parts store has a couple of gaskets in stock, I should be able to get this thing put back together. As long as they have the parts in stock. If that's the case, we should be able to hear this thing run today. But I've about lost faith in the local parts stores anymore. It's almost to the point where you have to order everything now. So we're gonna see what they got. Hopefully they do, and we can get this thing put back together. All right, so got the intake off. Parts store did have a gasket in stock. I was gonna clean the intake, but I'd like to get it together. So intake is on. I have started putting the bolts in. I put the top ones in to kind of hold it in place, and then I go through and put the bottoms in because they're the hardest to put in. So that's what I'm working on now. If you're interested, the gasket is a Fail-Pro gasket. It is MS 93094 is the part number for an intake gasket for a Jeep 4.0 manifold. Hopefully that helps you. Wait. Wrong spot. Aha. Make sure your dowel pins are lined up when you start to do this. If they are off, it will leak. Okay. Now, let's put a bolt in. All right. Now, I just have 4 more of those to do. You don't need to watch me do the same thing over and over, so I'll be right back. All right, it's a new day. Again, this stomach bug is no joke, and I'm not getting much time in. So I hoped everything would have been done yesterday, but it wasn't. So today it's just plugging up connectors, stick the fender back on, and then we're going to see how well we did. Yeah. Again, when it comes to plugging connectors up, they really can only go one place. So just take a moment to look and you'll see kind of where everything goes. It really isn't that difficult to do this type of stuff. You just have to pay attention to where everything goes. Fuel line back on, you can hear it click very clearly. So just continue plugging stuff up. Everything pretty well. All these connectors are shaped just a little different or have a tab on a different side or something along those lines. So they really can only go where they came from. Pretty simple process. Don't let it intimidate you. It really is pretty simple. Yeah, now stick a couple bolts in it. Man, let's take a minute and recognize how nice this fender cleaned up. A little soap and water. Well, it makes you want to come in here and clean all this up. And that was kind of part of the plan. But yeah, that ain't happening right now. Right now we're just getting it running again, and it can be given a bath at any point. I'm gonna start putting all this stuff back in and actually remembering how everything goes. Before we get too ahead of ourselves, that close the horn up. This goes through for our fender lights. And I want to tap that through. A lot of this stuff right here is vacuum hoses and stuff. Just take your time and double check everything, make sure you got them all. If you miss one, it's okay. You'll know it, just go back and hook it back up. Make this up this way, clean that up just a little bit. Let that down on there. This one goes right here on the intake, but we'll get to that. It's amazing how much room there is on this fender until you start putting stuff on it. Then all of a sudden you're fighting for a little bit of space to get your finger in there. Okay, there it is. Everything's buttoned back up. Everything's put back together. All the connections are made. This one air line right here, vacuum line right here, the boot down there is torn. So I'm gonna pull that off and see if I can get a piece of vacuum line and put on there from a local parts store. And then I'm gonna try to fire it up. And I have complete confidence that this battery that Noah used to power his emergency lights on the Ark with will charge right up. And yeah, that's never going to hold a charge. I want to find a battery. Yeah. So one vacuum line, and listen, I know I should drop the tank, dump all the old fuel out, clean the tank. I should do all that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to try and fire it up like it is. I know it's going to run kind of rough, but then hopefully there's not much fuel in it, and I can just top it off with some good fuel and see if we can't just run this through and it get to running better. We will find out. If it don't work, then I have to drop the tank and replace clean the tank, and I may have to replace some injectors. I don't know. But we're going to try it like this first. Is it the right way? Nah. Is it the way I'm going to do it? Yeah. So, all right then. Let me get this piece of vacuum hose, and then we're going to see if we can't fire this thing up. Well, I broke down and bought a new battery. And have y'all seen the price of batteries? Holy crap. It's been a long time since I actually spent money on a battery. And I literally shopped for the cheapest thing I could find for this because, well, let's face it, we don't know exactly yet what we're dealing with. And there was no hope for that battery right there. This was the cheapest battery I could find. It was still $109. No, don't they have like a scratch and dent section or something? Holy cow. Like, you have one that's just got just a little bit of a leak to it. Not a lot, just a little bit. I'll take that one. Holy cow, people. So what's the odds of this thing firing right up? Again, it has not been touched in 5 years. Let's just twist on the key and see what happens. Hopefully the motor's not stuck. Should have checked that. Sounds like we might have a terrible exhaust leak, but it started. Well, aside from a terrible exhaust leak, which I will fix, it actually runs good. Even though the gas that's in it's 5 years old, it runs good. Now, the good news to that is it has less than a quarter tank of gas in it. It has about 1/8 of a tank of gas in it. So I should be able to fill it up with good gas and just run this through. All the vitals look good. It's got right at 60 pounds of oil pressure. Temperature is good on it. Charging system's working. It's just got a terrible exhaust leak that needs to be fixed. There's a few things that need to be done. Exhaust leak, of course. Got to give it a bath. Got to put tires on it. And for some reason there's a bunch of rope wrapped around the back of it. Don't know what that's all about. But for the most part, this thing is up and running again for the first time in 5 years. That this thing has ran under its own power. So there it is. Now I'm just gonna give it a bath, and then it belongs to my wife again. It belongs to my wife anyway, but she gets it back again, and yeah, it becomes all hers, and she gets to do with it what she wants now. And I know she's ready to get back out and enjoy this thing. This is her Mother's Day gift, and again, I'm gonna try to get the tires done and the exhaust leak fixed and a few things, and that will get her up and running again, and she's going to enjoy this thing for many more years, I'm sure of it. So with that being said, I have no intentions of making y'all sit and watch me wash a vehicle. The exhaust leak will get addressed, and it's going to get back on the road again. We have, I don't even know what now, because I've been sick and I've been down for a few days, but I think we still have 2 weeks till Mother's Day, so I've got plenty of time to do these little things. And if not, it'll go to the a exhaust shop and just have them run new exhaust on it if it needs to. But it is back together. It is alive. It does run, and runs actually pretty well. Now it's just all the little maintenance things. I'm gonna pull it over here and wash it right now, and when I give it to her, give it back to her, let her in on all this. I think she pretty well has a clue anyway. She just doesn't know why I'm doing it, but she knows I'm working on it. So I think when we get it all back together, we may do a short or something of her actually getting back in it for the first time. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys remember to share, like, subscribe, and do all those things. I can't thank you enough for those who do subscribe and watch the channel. It means more to me than you could ever know, because you do subscribe and watch. I get to do things like this. It's a tremendous benefit to us. So I appreciate every one of you. I hope the Lord blesses you more today than he done yesterday, and to him be all the glory. We will see you guys on the next one. Not a bad looking Jeep when it's all cleaned up. I think she's gonna be a happy woman. Y'all let me know what you think. Fix the exhaust leak for her, and she's back in business. Yes, sir. We'll see y'all on the next one.
I'd say it's a nut job.